Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I want to talk a little bit more in detail about my SARMs transformation. The transformation I've made over the last 3 years in using SARMs. And as I mentioned in my other videos, SARMs are not meant for human consumption, and this video is just giving you guys some information on my experience with them, how I've used them in the past, just so you guys have some more information. This is not meant to recommend the use of SARMs or to instruct anybody on how to use them. Alright, so please just take this information as an entertainment product. That's all it is. To get into the video, I'm going to kind of break this down. In the past, I've done a couple videos on the transformation. I mostly talked about the transformation my body made. I didn't really talk about so much the contributing factors that went into that. So over the last 3 years, I've put on basically 30 pounds of lean muscle. My body fat really hasn't changed in percentage, but I have gained 30 pounds. There was a slight bit of fat gain in there, but the same body fat percentage, 30 pounds heavier. All right, so just a small amount of fat gain, which I think is pretty good for using non-steroidal products, right? And I've broken down each of the SARMs in other videos, so I'm not going to get too much into that. There are a couple that are borderline steroids. So anyway, I'm going to talk about contributing factors, what I've learned, the biggest mistakes I've seen, and what I took that worked. Okay, so to start out with, I want to talk about contributing factors: diet, travel, gym closures, exercise, and bad SARMs. The first one is diet. Over the last 3 years, I haven't been on a consistent diet. Okay, I eat fairly healthy year-round, but I do have a lot of cheat meals. Okay, I don't drink soda ever. My sugar intake is very low, but my carb intake and fat could be in better ratios. Okay. That being said, I generally stay within my calorie needs. I try not to eat in a calorie surplus very often at all, and a lot of times I stay in a calorie deficit. So, keeping that in mind, I haven't done anything extreme for diet, just general healthy eating for the most part. Over the last 3 years, I've had a lot of travel for work. I've been away from home for up to a month at a time or even longer. Last year, I was actually out of town for almost 5 months. I'd be home on the weekends, and that was it. I've also dealt with the gym closures due to COVID. My gym has been closed a total of 3 times during this whole shenanigans. So that was a lot of time out of the gym where I relied on home equipment for working out, mostly body weight type stuff and exercise bands. My exercise program, when the gyms are open, I hit the gym very hard. Okay, so when the gyms first open back up, obviously there's a few weeks getting back into the weightlifting routine where my body is getting used to lifting the weights again. So I have to kind of take it slow, and then I start hitting it really hard. I do a lot of supersets, sometimes trisets. I usually get a little circuit worked up when I can, where I'll be doing multiple exercises, focusing on compound movements, and then after the compound movements are done, then I'll focus on finishing with a smaller singular muscle or muscle group. All right. If you guys want to know more about that, I put together an exercise plan that's available on my website. It really breaks down my exercise philosophy on paper as far as how I set up my workouts. All right, so what I've learned. Several of the SARMs were created specifically to replace testosterone in the male body. All right, they're designed to shut down your testosterone production. And therefore, if you don't have something as a test base, you're going to have some pretty serious side effects when you're done with your SARM cycle. Now, you can do a test base either as injectable TRT, like now I am on TRT, I have been for the last year, and that is my test base. That alleviates the need for me to have a PCT after my SARM cycle, okay? But if you're not on TRT year-round, you're going to need a test base, and something like a 1-andro or 4-andro or the combination thereof can be used as a replacement for testosterone during the SARM cycle and immediately after it before starting PCT, all right? And I have videos on that if you guys want me to get in further detail. The videos are already posted. Bad suppliers of SARMs. Over the last 3 years, I've taken SARMs from a number of companies that turned out to be either mislabeled, underdosed. So to break that down even more, there was a test done recently on SARM manufacturers. Only 52% of the SARMs tested actually had the listed SARM that was on the label. Only 52% had that listed SARM in that product. 9% had no active ingredient. 25% of the tested companies had unlisted substances in that SARM product. And 39% of the products tested contained other products that were not on the label. There are a lot of bad SARM suppliers out there. And so, like I've talked about in my videos before, I really stress the need to purchase your SARMs from a reputable research company, okay? You can't be just purchasing whatever capsules from whatever company has a cool name and expecting to get good, consistent results. There are some companies out there that have a good name, it's a catchy name, they have a huge cult following on Facebook, and they talk about how great their products are. But in my experience, the results were inconsistent or even non-existent a lot of the time. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you're not purchasing from a reputable source, you can't rely on having consistent benefits, and you're probably going to be putting stuff in your body that you don't even know you're putting into your body. I learned about side effects and the importance of trying each SARM by itself. Okay, so no matter what you're taking, it doesn't matter if it's ibuprofen or Tylenol or a prescription medication, there's always going to be some type of side effect. Okay, and as I mentioned, several of the SARMs were designed specifically to shut down your testosterone production. SARMs such as Ostarine or a couple of others can also suppress testosterone. LGD-4033, LGD-3303, those can suppress testosterone, but they weren't necessarily designed specifically to shut it down. Whereas RAD140 and S23 were specifically designed to shut down your testosterone production. Therefore, when your cycle ends, if you're not using a testosterone base, your testosterone level is going to be very suppressed, and your estrogen level is still going to be in the regular range, so your ratio is going to be off, and you're going to have estrogenic side effects. All right? So I learned the importance of having a proper PCT, and I've done videos on that. You guys can go watch those. Very important that you have a proper PCT based on the type of testosterone base you're using. The biggest mistakes I have seen: bad SARMs, diet and exercise, and taking too many SARMs for an experience level. So bad SARMs, like I already mentioned, there are a lot of guys out there who have tried SARMs once or twice. They've used one of these flashy name companies. They're like, okay, SARMs don't work. Well, I'm sorry guys, you weren't probably taking the SARM in the first place, and if you were, it was probably massively underdosed. So you can't just write them off. And again, this isn't me encouraging people to use the SARM. I'm just saying a lot of these products are completely bunk. And in my opinion, it's probably more than half of them are underdosed to a point where there's no point even taking them. All right? So you have to, like I said, use a reputable company. Diet and exercise. Okay, you can't take SARMs or any other performance-enhancing product and expect it to be a magic pill. Okay, it's not going to do all the work itself. You still have to be dieting correctly. You still have to be exercising correctly. Even if you're using powerful anabolic steroids at high dosages, you're not going to see the full benefit of that if you're not eating correctly and if you're not putting the work in the gym. All right? And there's been a lot of talk of, oh, this product is a bulking product, or this product is a cutting product. And there is some value to that on a certain level. But most of the cutting or bulking is going to depend on the diet. Okay, and I know there's guys going to argue with me over that. That's just the way it is. Regardless of the compound, whether it's a SARM or a steroid or pro hormone, the bulking and cutting is going to depend more on the diet. Now, there are some products out there where it's going to depend on your estrogen or prolactin levels, and I can have videos on that. You can go watch those. I'll be putting up more in the future. But as far as actually putting on fat or cutting fat, that's going to depend more on your diet and your exercise than the actual product, in my opinion and in my experience, based on the forums I've read and watching other people. You can take pretty much anything and either bulk on it or cut on it. All right. I see a lot of guys taking too many SARMs for their experience level, and by that I mean they go to one of these flashy name companies and they go out there and buy something that's 9 SARMs in one pill, and they start taking that and they start having side effects, and they don't know which one of those products is causing the side effects. Now, realistically speaking, they're probably not taking any of those, or they're massively underdosed. But regardless of that, you don't know which of those compounds is causing the side effects. All right? So it's very important to take each product by itself and experiment with that to see how your body reacts before you start stacking them together. All right? That way you know where you're going to be getting your side effects, you know the dose that they show up, you know how long you can take them before you see the side effects, so on and so forth, and then you can start stacking safely. All right. So what I have taken that worked, I've taken all of the SARMs that you can buy right now. I've experimented with them in short cycles, long cycles, individually, stacked together, high dose, low dose. The ones that have worked best for me consistently are RAD140, Cardarine, and S23. Okay. S23 is supposed to be the most powerful SARM out there. It is very powerful. It is the most suppressive. It will shut your testosterone down to nothing. So it's important that you have a test based on that. as with pretty much all the other SARMs. Rad 140 to me is the ultimate SARM for my body, and everybody is different, so everybody's going to react differently to each of these products, right? For me, Rad 140 puts on a nice amount of lean muscle and greatly increases my strength and aggression. I feel great while I'm taking it. I can take it at a fairly high dose, and at the end of the cycle, I still feel great, especially having the testosterone base, right? My TRT goes year round, so I still feel great. I maintain my muscle, and when I go into the next cycle, I'm starting at a higher baseline than I did before. Cardarine has been really great for me too. Now, Cardarine is another product. It's not a SARM, okay? But there has been a lot of research out there talking about how it causes cancer in rats. It can cause certain types of cancer to be elevated at a risk rate, while at the same time reducing the risk rate of other types of cancer. So there aren't any human studies done with Cardarine to verify whether or not that's going to be an issue in humans, okay? So I take Cardarine very limitedly. I'll take it before days I'm going to do excessive amounts of cardio, for example. And then most of the time I don't take it at all, all right? But when I do take it, I find that it can increase my cardio output by double or even triple. So on days when I'm really wanting to just go to the gym and focus on cardio that day, or I'm going to do a heavy weight routine for a long time and then get on cardio, I'll take some Cardarine, and then I can power through that, and I'm not feeling like I'm going to die at the end, all right? And it helps me to achieve my workout goals. So keeping all this in mind, you guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen the pictures. The pictures are included here in the video for you guys to see what I looked like before, what I look like now. It's been, to me, a pretty amazing transformation, but I'm not done yet, okay? My goal is to put on another 15 pounds of muscle and lose another 20 pounds of body fat, all right? That should put me right at 195 at between 10 and 12% body fat, which is where I want to get, all right? So that is my goal over the next year. I've been there before. I did a video, and Greg Doucette basically did a response video on that, saying that it was unrealistic, but I think that I didn't mention it in the video, so I don't think he's aware that I was at that point before, and I have the muscle memory still. I don't think it's unrealistic for me to get back to that body composition in a short period of time, okay? I've spent the last 3 years rebuilding my base, and now I just need to tune it up a little bit more. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you're looking for any of the products that I use and the companies I trust, please make sure you click the link in the video description. I have all of my trusted companies in that link. Most of them have a 10 or 20% discount code associated with the link, so it saves you guys a little bit of money in checking out. I also get a little kickback from that, so I appreciate you guys doing it. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Take care.